Hello and welcome back to my channel. And it's been quite some time when we have discussed about philosophy. Let's dive straight into our topic of today, which is the Jaina philosophy or Jainism. It's one of the ancient Indian religions. One of the contemporaries of Jainism is Buddhism. Both of these religions basically were uh, they emerged because of their rejection of the authority of the Vedas. That's why these are the new systems, these are not the orthodox ones, and they deny the authority of Vedas. I'll just chart out the keywords which are very much important to us with respect to the philosophical aspect of it and with respect to the philosophy optional paper. First is uh, pluralistic realism. Just write out these points and then we'll have a brief discussion on each and every point. Next is Nastic, which is basically Astic is not in the layman terms or not in the general meaning of it, which we use in our day to day lives. So, the general meaning of Astic is somebody who is very smudged into spirituality, who is very spiritual, who fears God, who believes in God. Whereas in the philosophical system, astic means somebody or a system who believe in the authority of the Vedas, for whom the Vedas are sacrosanct. Whereas for the Gnostics are the ones who deny the authority of these Vedas, and that's why Jainism, Buddhism, Charvak, and even the ancient Indian philosophical schools of Sankhya and Mimamsa are Gnostics because they don't believe in the authority of the Vedas. The other key word will be, so I have to actually recall it. Yep. So these are also contrary to the modern interpretation of Jainism. The Jaina philosophy was a non-theistic one or atheistic, whereas nowadays we could see that they have started to worship the Tirthankaras, and it is basically an influence of the contemporary religion like Hinduism. So, just as the deities are worshipped in Hinduism, so now these people, the Jaina people, basically started worshipping the Tirthankaras uh, or the Siddha people, the Siddhas, who have actually attained liberation and who are sitting in the place called Siddhashila, where you go when you are free from the cycle of birth and death, free from the cycle of karmas, and you have attained moksha. So they are basically revering, showing their reverence to the Siddha people. Non-theistic, then basic terms. First is ANEKANTAVAD, then SYADAVAD, or there's a term which is used synonymously, which is SAPTABHANGINAYA, moksha or liberation, bondage, and obviously dravya. These are the keywords which we will describe. So, Jaina philosophy basically. So, the first Tirthankar was Rishabdev, and the last Tirthankar, the 24th one, was Mahavira, Vardhaman Mahavira. So they basically gave the theories about their interpretation about what exactly is the world, is the reality which we see right now, is it real or is there something else which is beyond our empirical world? How do you define that, what is called moksha? How do you give your counter view to what should we accept if not the Vedas? And why do you think the Vedas are wrong? So based on these principles, uh, all these Tirthankaras, and especially Vardhaman Mahavira, gave their teachings, and these learnings are incorporated in the Jaina philosophy. So, first is pluralistic. So, pluralistic realism is a word which is used with respect to Anekantavad. So, it is basically a key word for the definition of the different aspects of reality. Anekantavad basically means the theory of manyness of reality, the theory of manyness of reality. So there is not one single reality which you see, or there's no one single point of view. Reality has many aspects, and in many, I'm not trying to finite it, I'm not trying to limit it, limit the quantity or limit the aspects of reality. There are infinite number of realities with infinite attributes. These attributes can be positive or negative. So, based on this theory of Anekantavad, uh, there is a small analogy given to us. For example, there is this elephant. Just assume it as a drawing. So, there is this elephant, and let me just try to draw it. So, this is the trunk, this is the body, these are the legs, and this is the tail. Okay, so there are six blind men who have been given a task that they have to touch a thing, and they have to identify what they feel that thing is. So, as you know, the blind people basically, unfortunately, don't have functioning vision. So that's why in this very, let's assume it as an experiment. In this very experiment, they have been told that they have to touch a certain thing, and then they have to describe as to what they think that the thing which they touched is. So one of the person is touching the trunk over here. One of the person is touching the ears. One of the person is touching the legs. One is touching the body. One is touching the tail, and there's also one more person. I don't remember. So there are six people. I don't remember the other body part which that person is touching of the elephant. So one of the person who is touching the trunk feels like it is somewhat different. One of the person who is so like the thing is all six of them have different descriptions of what the thing is, and they have been told that everything is same. So the person who is instructing them is telling to them that what all you're touching, the six things, these are not six different things, it is just the same thing, right? So the person who's touching the uh, tail is saying that it feels like a rope. The person who's touching the leg feels like that it's like some pillar. Then the person who's touching the ear says that it's like a fan. So you see different interpretations of the same object. See, different interpretations. However, the person who is like the third person point of view, or the instructor who has a functioning vision, who knows beyond these limitations of vision, he knows that it's neither of it. It's an elephant, and you're touching the body parts of elephant. So what Jaina philosophy basically tries to teach us is that you might have different point of views, even though you might feel like some of the people, there's a common analogy which we all get, that from a standpoint of this person it is called six, whereas from another person it's nine. One is standing over here, another is standing over here, and both of them are right in their own standpoints and in their own point of views. Is anybody saying wrong? No, none of them. It's right. Like if you see from here, it looks like six. If you see from this point, it looks like nine. Right. So they both are right. But a person who has the knowledge that you also have to consider the direction, that person knows that It's just the, जैसे कहते हैं ना, आंखों मतलब जादू को लोग बोलते हैं कि ये सिर्फ आंखों का धोखा है. It's like it's similar to it. So only the person who has infinite knowledge, who has knowledge of everything, will know that these six men are actually limited by their inabilities. They cannot see it all. That's why they have different perceptions of the very same objects. So, in this theory, what the Jainas try to tell us is that we as humans have limited abilities. We are limited by our limitations, and we cannot see it all. So that's why we have different point of views, and only an omniscient one can know about the whole truth or about the absolute. And obviously we are not. So that's why, in order to provide the validity of our statements, we always have to prefix our statement with a word called syad. So, for example, one of the persons over here said that this very thing which I'm touching looks like a fan. So he should actually, in order to claim his statement as valid, has to say that Syad, this looks like a fan. Syad, this looks like a pillar. Syad, this looks like a rope. So, in order to provide the validity to a judgment, you always have to prefix it with Syad. So a judgment which is not prefixed by Syad or which is said to be as absolutely true is called a bad judgment or dutaniti. Because we are claiming that we know about everything, we know about the absolute, but the thing is we are not saying about the relativity of the statement. Also, if we don't define the relativity of a statement and neither we define the relativity, neither we claim that statement to be absolute, so neither relative nor absolute, that judgment is called Naya. So in Dutniti, we claim that our statement is true or absolute. So that is why this is a Dutniti or a bad judgment, because we are limited by our abilities and we cannot know it all. That's why it's a Dutniti or a bad judgment, whereas a Nyaya is a statement where a statement or a judgment whereby we are not defining if it's relative or if it's absolute. So that's why it's a nyaya. So nyaya, you can consider it as a plain statement without any aspect of relativity or absolute nature. So in order for a nyaya to become valid, you need to prefix it with syad. Syad over here does not mean a probability or a possibility. Syad basically means just the frame of reference or relativity. This is what Syad means. So let's get back to Anekantavad in order to just uh, link all the dots which we have connected right now. So Anekantavad. So Anekantavad is basically realistic as well as relativistic pluralism. Pluralism in the sense that we are considering infinite number of realities which has infinite aspects, infinite attributes, which can be both positive and negative. So Anekantavad and Syadvad are two related terms. So Anekantavad is basically a metaphysical theory, whereas Syadvad is the epistemological one. In metaphysics, we basically try to give we try to answer or ask questions about what exactly is reality, why is reality like that. Whereas in Syadvad, we try to see the sources of why are we considering this type of reality. So Anekantvad and Syadvad are two aspects of the same teaching, which is relativistic and realistic pluralism. They are like the two sides of a coin. The metaphysical side, that reality has innumerable characters, is called Anekantvad, whereas the epistemological and the logical side, that we can only know some aspects of the reality, and therefore all our judgments are necessarily relative in nature, is called Syadvad. So in physics, there is a topic called relative motion. In relative motion, there's always a general problem which is given in every textbook, and especially in HC Verma, that there is this truck moving. You can imagine it that there is this trolley which basically has many cars, new cars, which are packed over here, which are being delivered from Delhi to Gurgaon, right? So from a person who is standing here right in this place, uh, any parking lot or something, he would see that this truck is moving. For him, all of it is in motion. Whereas from the person who is actually inside here in the trolley, for them, these cars are in rest. So it's just the standpoint, it's just the point of views, different point of views, different persons have different point of views. These point of views are dependent upon your surroundings, your agencies of socializations, and how you view the world, what were your initial conditioning. So all of this. So this is about Anekantavad and the starting of Syadavad. So this very word is the essence of the theory of Syadavad. Syadavad is also called Saptabhanginaya, or the theory of relativity of knowledge. The theory of relativity of knowledge. So in this Saptabhanginaya, Sapt basically means seven. So you might have learned about the number system in Sanskrit. So Sapt means seven. I remember Shat, Sapt, Asht, Nav, दशम हाँ एकम द्वौ त्रय चतुर्थ पंचम षष्ठ सप्त अष्ट नव दशम, if I'm not wrong. That's been quite some time. So in these are basically the Jainas are basically propounding seven judgments. Naya, we have seen the meaning. A judgment which is without any sense of relativity or absolute aspect. So these are the seven judgments with which the Jainas philosophers have actually given. So the first is Syad Asti, which is a thing is real. Asti is basically affirmative. Then Syad Nasti is unreal. This is in negation. Syad Asti Nasti, a thing is both real as well as unreal. So real, unreal. Then a thing is um, indescribable. So Syad Avyaktam. The others are Syad. So the others, basically the fifth statement will be a combination of 1 and 4. The sixth is 2 and 4. And the seventh is 3 and 4. Right. So if we go by that logic, the fifth statement will be Syad Asti Avyaktam. Then the sixth will be Syad Nasti Avyaktam. Seventh will be Syad Asti Nasti Avyaktam. So these are the seven judgments which they have provided in order to assess the different forms of reality, or in order to the different forms of judgment. So what they try to mean by these is that reality has infinite aspects which are all relative, and we can know only some of these aspects. Our judgments therefore are necessarily relative, conditional, as well as limited. So our judgments basically are relative, conditional, and limited. That is why they have propounded these seven types of judgments in order to assess what exactly is. So Jainas, basically by propounding this theory of Saptabhaganya, has tried to resolve a major philosophical difference in all the major philosophies. So almost all the philosophical, ideological, and religious differences and disputes are mainly due to mistaking partial truth for the whole truth. So even right now, if we take context of modern India or even the modern world, because of cutting reels or making different edits, you just get to know a partial view in those 1 to 2 minute shorts or reels. So it is just a very much altered version, you might say, that they're giving just one aspect of this whole truth. And this has been a major bone of contention between different conflicts which have arisen across the world, be it the religious conflicts, be it the ideological conflicts, and also the philosophical conflicts which took place. So Jainas are basically the ones who are trying to ascertain that, okay, I understand that your point of view is right. This happened from your point of view. They're also understanding that, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I understand. All of your point of views are right. I understand that you are saying the truth. But the thing is, you also have to consider that you cannot just negate the other person. So this view basically makes Jainas more broad-minded, more accommodative, as well as more tolerant. The Jaina philosophy, you could say, it respects others' points of views, which is basically much needed thing in our world right now. So this was all about uh, for today. I'll see you guys in the next video where we discuss about the criticisms for Syadavada and Saptabhanginaya. Then we will discuss about what is moksha or liberation in terms of the Jaina philosophy, what is bondage, and what is dravya. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, see ya. Bye.